Hello and welcome to week 20 of the advanced full distance plan from Scientific Triathlon. This week is the last really big week of the training plan where we do a lot of volume because next week we head into taper and the volume goes down significantly to 13 hours from 18 hours nominally this week. The range this week is quite flexible and it's erring on the side of lower rather than higher from 15 hours 25 to 18 hours 55 depending on adjustable durations and optional workouts as usual. I want to say that as we talked about last week, if you are feeling that you have been managing really well in the challenging race pace and race pace supporting workouts so far in this training block and you're recovering well day to day and feeling good and feeling that you can tackle another level of challenge, then this is probably the time to do some adjustments to the plan and in terms of just adding a little bit of a challenge level to a couple of those more demanding workouts like a race pace workout. And that in my opinion should look like not making things more intense but adding more duration at the specific intensity targeted. So for example, let's say you want to do this process on the endurance on the run, then a good thing to do would take this endurance run with the fast finish, which is just a long kind of zone 2 run, an hour 15 zone 2 followed by 30 minutes at a tempo pace, so Ironman race pace or slightly faster. And you could take this run and say that, okay, actually I'm going to finish with 40 minutes instead of 30 minutes because it's doable. It's definitely tough, but it's doable. So that's an example of what you could do. What you should not do is to take these 30 minutes and say, oh, I'm going to do this 30 minutes at threshold or close to threshold, because then you kind of change the purpose of the workout. But that being said, doing these sorts of changes is not something that most people need to do. It's only if you are somebody who feel that, well, you are quite advanced and this plan, the workouts in this plan are quite manageable for you, or you finished. I mean, they will be hard, most likely. I don't think anybody would say they are easy. But if you feel that, yeah, I did that and I could probably have done a fair bit more. So this is for that kind of athlete, and there's not that many athletes that I think would fall in this category, but there are a few, so I want to mention that. And perhaps the more common scenario would be that you might actually start to feel tired because we have been training for a long distance race at an advanced level. Volume has been very high. That is clear. So if you are feeling the accumulation of that fatigue and you're feeling that I'm not sure I'm on the right track here because I'm getting slightly too tired, slightly more tired than I would like to, then I think you should be empowered. So I'm giving you my permission, if you need it, to take the executive decision to make drastic changes in terms of taking an unscheduled rest day or two this week, because it's better to solve these things sooner rather than later. The sooner you get to the bottom of these things like fatigue, the better, the less it takes to get to a nice reset where you are faster than ever compared to if you do it later. And you might get a bit better, but you might not get that big super compensation that you might get if you do something earlier. So don't be afraid if you are feeling tired, if you're feeling run down, to bring things back significantly, if not taking a complete rest day or two. You know your body better than anybody, so listen to it and follow the things it's telling you. And keep in mind that the race isn't about who trains the most. The race is about executing on race day, and that requires fitness, but it also requires freshness. So keep that in mind. And then I guess one more important thing is that it really is time now to really start putting pen to paper or starting typing your race plan and also your race logistics plan. And the race logistics plan includes things like your packing list, time schedules, when do you need to be where, and when is registration, when is transition check-in. All these things you should be prepared well in advance with. With the race plan, of course, that includes things like your pacing strategy, which these workouts in this block will have helped you develop, but also your nutrition and hydration plan, even things like your mental skills, what positive self-talk will you run through in your head when things get tough, all these things. So put pen to paper and start working on that now. And then this also allows you, for example, with the packing list, if you notice that, okay, I'm going to pack spare tubes, but you actually don't have spare tubes at home, which you should notice because you should lay things out and just check that you have everything that you're putting on your packing list. Then you know that, okay, next week I'm going to go or even this week I'm going to go and fix that and get some new spare tubes. So I have it way ahead of time and I don't run into any surprises. In terms of workout highlights for this week, we have a lot of familiar workouts. We have some slightly new ones. A favorite of mine is a combination workout, which is mostly a strength endurance workout, but including some surges. So you have done these sorts of surges before, and again, it's just intensity maintenance. It's not about doing these as hard 30-second sprints or anything, just about getting to threshold or slightly above threshold. That's the main thing. And then getting into 4 times 15 minutes classic strength endurance work, low cadence, tempo kind of power. And the same sort of philosophy runs through this workout on the run on Wednesday, with a few 1-minuters at around threshold. So again, getting that leg speed, getting a bit of a stronger muscle recruitment, but only short ones. And we are not trying to really develop any speed or high-end power. We're just trying to maintain what we built earlier in the program, and then heading straight into 20 minutes of a sort of high zone 2, low zone 3 effort, LT1 aerobic threshold. And then we have a tempo threshold swim on Thursday. And this is one that I think we saw earlier in the program. Correct me if I'm wrong or don't, but I think we did. 10 times 300 progressive effort. So the first 4 would be at one particular pace, and then the next 3 you should be able to swim faster, only a little, but still faster than the previous 4, and so on and so forth. And using the Finis tempo trainer is something that I would highly recommend for this workout. That makes pacing really easy and makes it really effective. Of course, if you don't have that, then do your best without it. But the Finis tempo trainer is a really great tool for that particular workout. Then on the Saturday, we have our big race pace day with 3 times 1 hour at Ironman race power. And by now you should be quite familiar with what your race power is. You should have learned that through the work you've already been doing in previous workouts, and it should become more and more clear to you what you can and cannot do for 180 kilometers, even if you're not going to do 180 kilometers of race pacing training, but it should be becoming clear to you. And then now we get to run off of the bike at Ironman race pace, and the workout is 3 times 12 minutes at your race pace, and your race pace might be mid to high zone 2 for most of you, and it might even be low zone 2 for you if you're a slower runner. So again, as I've said on the bike, and we haven't really done any Ironman race pace runs so far, because kind of all zone 2 runs could potentially be Ironman race pace runs. So they haven't been specifically named. That, I guess, is more correct way of phrasing it. But keep in mind here that, just as I said, for race pace bikes and swims, at least for the bikes, you may fall outside of the standard or the range set up and prescribed here, and you need to listen to your body and just be sensible and be realistic with what you can do on race day, and whether that's actually feasible to hold for a marathon after 180 kilometers of cycling. But this workout shouldn't be too hard, because this workout actually shouldn't be hard even after 4 hours of cycling. Because 4 hours is probably for most of you still less than you will do on race day, and after that only 3 times 12 minutes at race pace. That is not a significant portion of the marathon. I mean, it is a significant portion, I guess, but you have a long way to go still of the marathon after 36 minutes of running. So if this workout feels hard, then the pace is probably too high, or maybe the bike was too hard. So, but it definitely will be, you will need to focus. That's how I would describe this kind of workout. It requires focus. You can't just relax and slack off, because then you will be starting to go slower than you could do, but it shouldn't be hard. And then finally, the endurance run that I already showed. It is actually a great one to do on the day after a big day with a big bike and a brick, because it will show you in no uncertain terms what your fatigue resistance is on the run, because you will be tired after the previous day, but you still need to go out and run for 2 hours and 30 minutes, albeit most of it at a very comfortable endurance effort and on soft surfaces if possible. So this part shouldn't be hard, but it will still pre-fatigue your legs for then doing 30 minutes at Ironman pace or slightly faster. So keep that in mind, that you will not only be fighting the 1 hour 50 that you did before that segment, but also the previous day of training. And it goes without saying, but in all of these things, practicing race nutrition, race hydration, and your race gear, race bike, and all of that, aerodynamic position, TT position, training outdoors so that you can practice converting watts into speed. All of that is super important. So keep that forefront as you go through this week, as well as the previous weeks. But I think that's it for this week. Good luck. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll talk to you next week.